Hey Elonites, welcome to the Tesla Space, where we share the latest news, rumors, and insights into all things Tesla, SpaceX, and Elon Musk. It's time for news of the week on the Tesla Space, and this week we are talking about cars losing roofs. Yes, I said that right. Cars flying through space, and where in the world to get the hottest new Model Y upgrade. Let's get into it. Tesla haters around the world continue to cry as Tesla smashed yet another quarterly delivery record. Last week, we talked about how Tesla was crunching hard to meet vehicle delivery expectations for the third financial quarter of this year. With everything that's gone on in 2020, expectations are at an all-time high for Tesla to deliver impressive numbers and show constant growth. There's a lot of money riding on their success right now. The high expectation from Wall Street was to see 140 Tesla cars delivered in Q3. This is a lofty goal, considering Tesla's highest previous delivery total was 112,000 cars in one quarter. Well, we are very happy to say that the people of Tesla pulled through and delivered 139,300 vehicles in Q3. This is obviously great news for Tesla and their investors, as it shows that the company is capable of living up to sky-high valuations that they have achieved in 2020. While it may not be enough for some pessimistic market investors who would only be satisfied if the company had exceeded expectations, not just meet them, this is a signal that the company is on track and not falling behind. Remember that the price of Tesla's stock has increased 400% in just this year, so they need to be constantly proving to the market that they are worth the money and not just running on hype. Though they will need to step up production even more to reach their annual goal of delivering 500,000 cars in 2020. They're hoping to increase productivity by another 20% in Q4 to reach that number. Interestingly, we can see that of the 139,300 vehicles they produced, 124,000 were the more affordably priced Model 3 and Model Y, which shows that Tesla is really starting to take off with the average consumer. Moving on to slightly less positive news, there was a Tesla Model Y roof disaster recently. So yes, we did just praise Tesla for delivering a record number of vehicles, but also we've got to mention that a few of them might have been delivered a bit too quickly. Take the case of this Model Y crossover SUV in the United States, which lost its roof on the way home from the dealership. Yeah. This guy was driving his brand new Tesla home for the first time when his whole ass roof flew off the damn car on the highway. The video clip was posted online and is only 2 seconds long, but we can clearly see that we are looking at a Tesla vehicle with no roof rolling down the freeway. A Reddit post from the owner's son, who was in the car at the time, claims everything was going fine, and we were driving back home when we started to hear a ton of wind. I thought maybe a window was open, but a minute later, the entire glass roof just blew off. After a brief panic, we turned around and drove the new Tesla convertible back to the dealership. The vehicle owner has reported that Tesla Service Center told him the roof seal was either faulty or the roof was never actually sealed from the factory, which is a pretty big problem. Now, we know that Tesla have had some Model Y issues with regards to the quality of some trim pieces and some uneven panel gaps. And obviously that's not great, but it's not the end of the world. A lot of it is just nitpicking. But this roof fiasco is a massive facepalm for even the most dedicated fanboys, especially after last week when we saw Teslas running over pedestrians. Tesla, come on, get your shit together. Moving on from Tesla to one of Elon's other businesses, Starlink grows by another 60 satellites. The futuristic satellite-based telecommunications project Starlink, created by Elon Musk's SpaceX company, continues to grow in size. On October 6th, thanks to the SpaceX Falcon Heavy rocket, they delivered another batch of 60 satellites into orbit around Earth. The Starlink mega constellation is a grouping of hundreds and eventually thousands of small communication satellites that will be capable of delivering high-speed, broadband internet to every place on Earth, no matter how remote. The only thing people would need is a small receiver device that is about the size of a laptop and looks like a UFO on a stick. The latest launch represents nearly 800 Starlink satellites arriving in orbit. That's about the number that Elon Musk says he will need to get this project operational. SpaceX expects the initial cluster of satellites to be 1,440 strong when the system launches officially. The US government has so far authorized SpaceX to launch up to 12,000 satellites into orbit, while the company expects that eventually Starlink will expand to as many as 30,000 satellites. We've also seen some preliminary tests run in Seattle where they've achieved speeds of 100 megabytes down and 40 up. The German Model Y will be the first to get the new structural battery cells announced at Battery Day. Elon Musk has confirmed that Tesla's new structural battery cell design that was debuted at Battery Day will first be going into the Model Y crossover produced at Giga Berlin when the factory is up and running next year. If you missed the initial announcement, the structural battery cell is basically the center section of the vehicle frame that will link together the single-piece casted front and rear sections. The center of the car will serve as both the battery cell container and part of the chassis. On his Twitter, Elon said that Berlin will use the 4680 cell with structural battery pack and front and rear single-piece castings. Also, a new paint system. He then added, "A lot of new technology will happen in Berlin, which means significant production risk. Fremont and Shanghai will transition in 2 years when the new tech is proven." So we know that the whole point of Tesla building factories on every continent is to avoid ever having to ship vehicles overseas. That means that this new Model Y with the advanced structural upgrades will only be available in the European market until around 2023. Kind of a bummer for the rest of us, but it's cool to see that Elon is brave enough to get this new design tech out into the consumer market. Just please don't forget to attach the roof on this time. Moving back to SpaceX's Starman and Elon Musk's Tesla just passed by Mars. In 2018, Elon Musk made a spectacle out of the first ever SpaceX Falcon Heavy rocket launch by including his Tesla Roadster with a spacesuit-clad mannequin behind the wheel named Starman as the rocket's payload. When the car and astronaut were released above the Earth, they were destined to orbit around the Sun alongside the Earth and its neighboring planets, and they've just hit their first milestone by passing Mars for the first time. On October 7th, the Roadster passed within 5 million miles of the red planet. Starman and the Roadster circle the Sun once every 557 Earth days, and as of today, they have covered nearly 1.3 billion miles in space, far enough to drive all of the roads on Earth more than 57 times over. As for the long-term mission of the Roadster and its Star Trek, well, it's not really ever going to do much out there. Best guesses are that the Tesla and Starman will orbit around the Sun for a few tens of millions of years before smashing down into the surface of either Earth or Venus. But that's it for news this week, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us, and make sure to give the video a thumbs up if you liked it today. If you're new around here, please subscribe to the channel. We release new videos every Monday and Friday. Sometimes we release videos on other days too. So hit the notification bell and you won't miss out on anything around here. Thank you to everyone for your support, and I'll see you in the next video.